Today on the Biz Talk, we have a very special guest, Rhiannon Miles. She's a YN mentor, senior mentor, and also an extremely successful nail technician in the salon. We're going to talk about the top piece of advice for beginners right now on the Biz Talk. Rhiannon, your shoes are super fly.
You like that?
Yeah. What do you think about mine?
What are those?
You don't like my shoes? You commented earlier that it says support,
Yeah.
and then that was a big negative.
Yeah, I mean, they look comfortable.
Does that mean?
Yeah.
Does that mean I'm old? Those people over there would agree with you. Oh my God, I'm always getting hit for being old, but I think I'm young for my age. I think like 7 is the number. That's what I go by. Tracy
That's what
would
you see yourself as?
Yeah, 7-year-old. Okay. I want to talk about advice for beginners. And I'm super excited to have you here today because you're a very successful nail artist, professional. And I think it's important for beginners to get advice from somebody who's been in the industry for a little bit and who's built up a successful clientele and a business. And also, you've been working with us for quite some time. You've traveled quite a bit. First of all, before we get into that, just give me like a quick, overview of how long you've been in the business, where you're from, just a quick little history, and your love for nails, why you got into nails, what you're doing today.
Cool. I've been doing it for 13 years.
Nice.
And I've been a mentor since 2011.
Cool.
I'm from Tempe, Arizona as well. When I first started, I actually had a group of friends that were going to beauty school. And we always used to make jokes about me doing nails. Looked at school, it was like $4,000.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, try it.
And were you, sorry to interrupt, were you doing nails and that's why they're making jokes? Because were you always into them or obsessed with them? Or
Not at all.
Okay.
Not even a little bit. They did hair.
Okay.
One did massage. And they're like, oh yeah, it would be fun to have a group. Like, you do nails.
You do like you're the drummer?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it. Got it. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was working at a call center.
Cool.
And so it was pretty boring. So I thought I'd give it a shot. So
Oh
I
my
worked.
God. You at a call center,
I was good.
I
I was so good. I did sales.
Oh, you probably killed it
Yeah.
then. Yeah, because you have
did.
energy and
Yeah.
you're like, go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see you. Okay, cool. Continue.
Yeah. So I started school. I worked from 7 to 4, and then I went to night school from
Okay.
5 to 10 p.m. And then about 4 months in, I was like crying, and it's horrible, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
When I got out of school, fast forward, there was like this lady that let me rent her space for $50 a week.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Yeah, super cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did is they had yellow pages back then, which is like
Oh my
today's
God.
Google.
Right.
Right. So, luckily the salon's name was Accents. So it started with A, and that's how it was done. And so I waited, and I remember this one time I made $50. It was one pedicure
Wow.
that I did.
$50.
Yeah, it was good, right?
Back then too. That's
yeah.
good.
And then some weeks I wouldn't have any.
Sure.
And then I would go home and cry and think I couldn't do it. It happens. And then so I sat down and I started doing the math. If I could do $50, it took me 1 hour, and then like 8 hours a day, right? 5 days a week. I'm like, I'm going to be rich.
Yes.
So
Make money.
yeah. And so then I started renting, fast forwarding to now I only work 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and I do about, I would say, an average of 100 clients a month.
Wow.
Yeah. And so and then I come here and I get to help other students.
Totally.
So it's really fun.
And you've built a very successful, like you're dialed in now. Like you've got your Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
Is that right? You have your schedule. I think for any beginner or somebody getting in the industry now, to hear that, that's like, wow, like that's what they want, right?
Yeah.
I would love to work 3 days a week. I would love to have that dialed in, have 4 days a week to do whatever I want, make a great living, have a great career.
Buy all the things you want.
Exactly.
Shoes. Yeah.
And you get to travel. You're coming out to LA all the time. You're helping us at OWC, obviously. You get to travel the trade shows. We don't do a lot anymore, but still the ones we do, you're there talking to techs, communicating.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dream scenario
Totally.
for a nail professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give like a piece of advice, I'm somebody that just started and I walk up to you and I say, Rhi, I want to do what you do. Guide me. Can you give me a piece of advice? Like, what do you tell them?
Well, you need to set a goal. You need to set a goal. I don't know what your goal is, but my goal at the beginning was to make $350 a week average. That was going to allow me to quit my day job. And then I would just sit in the salon. So I don't know if it's like, oh, I want to get X amount, 5 clients a week, So you need to write it down. And I'm really big on the power of manifestation.
Love it.
So you can create whatever you want.
Yeah.
You need to vocalize it out loud. You need to write it down. And then you need to sit in the salon.
Right.
Literally. I do also say, to beginners, you need to bank. You need to go to the gas station. You need to be in the grocery store in the salon area. And wear your nails. That's huge.
So right. Okay. Wear your work. Right. Is that what, ultimately that's what you're you gotta do. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, totally. Yes.
Or I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I'm sorry. Continue. Where were you going? I thought that's what you're saying is if you're starting, you got to be in the salon and you got to.
So you got to wear your work.
Yep.
And then you have to go to the gas station, to the bank, everything in your area, to the grocery store, in the salon area.
Gotcha. And hit up people. And what do you say? What do you do?
Well, usually they say something about my nails. I was just traveling here, and the girl at the Southwest thing, she was just like, "Are you based here?" And in Tempe, and I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh my God, I love your nails," and I was like, "Yeah, perfect." And you could even say you like their nails or comment something about their nails.
I love that. Okay, so let's okay. I love having clarity in these conversations. So first thing, set a goal. What a great piece of advice. Number one, every starting nail professional, you have to set a goal. I love that. Write it down. $350 a week, right? Let's get a number. Let's go. And then hit your local area, hit the streets, get aggressive, retail areas, gas station, banks, wear your work, comment on their nails. The one question I would get, I remember we were doing a session with somebody and I was telling them, you got to get aggressive. You got to go in your area. And they're like, well, what do I say? And me, I would jump in and be like, hey, how's it going? Check this out. I would just go, right? But for a lot of people, that's a great way to break the ice. I love your nails. They look good. And it's check these out. It's a great way to get the conversation started on that topic, right?
Yeah.
What else would you say to them? So they say, okay, Rhi, I'm going to set my goal. How long do you anticipate it's going to take for them to build? If they have expectations okay, Rhi, I'm going to do this in 2 months. Okay, cool. What's the reality?
This is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. There's going to be days where you have no one too, and you're going to have to take your little practice hand and practice in the salon. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
I would say for realistically 2 years to build up. Mine was about 8 months before I was making my goal of $350 a week. Which
awesome.
It sounds funny now, but that was a big deal.
That is a big deal
to me.
Yeah. You hit your goal in 8 months. How aggressive? Let me ask you this question. I'm so big on this, consistency and hammering away at the market. You know what I mean?
Right.
How hard, when you set that goal, were you was it daily? You were in the salon, you were hitting up the area, you were how aggressive were you?
Evenings and weekends, whenever I wasn't working my day job. And then I got the girls at my day job to come to me too. So it was every opportunity. And that's what I think when I talk to other beginners, it's easier said than done.
Totally.
There's literally moments where I would go in at or leave the salon at 10 p.m. but that's just because I was trying to build something.
Right.
You know, so it's not for the faint of heart.
Right.
Like you have to put the work in
Yeah.
to actually be where like I can sit back and say like, man, I did some really cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know what's so interesting to me is the nail, like to be a pro nail artist, right? A professional nail technician. What a lot of beginners or novices don't understand is that you are going into business. Like this is your own business. It's not, you're not working. Well, if you go into commission, that's different. Like you're going to work for somebody and they're responsible for bringing it in. But if you're starting booth rent, like what you did, you're a business owner now.
Yeah.
And a business owner, and this is something I can relate to, is so hard and so taxing, and you have to put in the hours. So hearing that, like you're there until 10 p.m. and you're grinding away for the first 8 months, probably longer to build the clientele, but to reach your goal,
I didn't want to work my day job anymore.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Right.
And then to even think about working for somebody else, it's just crazy now to even think of that.
Yeah. And now you have this machine that you've built, right? And it's just going and it's going and you have control. Do you have control over your clientele? Do your clients do they guide things for you, or I mean, do you have it in control?
Well, I think at the beginning, totally, like I would do whatever they say. If they were like, oh, I can only do 3 o'clock. And I was just like, okay, I can only do Saturday night at 6 p.m. Okay. Like, I feel like at the beginning, I took everything that they said. It didn't matter if I had to leave and come back to the salon. It didn't even matter. So.
And today, like, how's that different today?
Oh, yeah. So then I stopped working Saturdays. Big deal for professionals.
Huge.
Yeah. I was a little nervous. I was a lot nervous. But I was like, I'm going to add Tuesdays and Wednesdays to make it late days. So when I told them, and it's hard to even verbalize stuff to them, even like when you raise your prices and stuff, I feel this awkward moment where it's just like I start like sweating a little bit. And I'm just like, so I'm not going to be working Saturdays. And most of them were like, okay, so can you get me in after work? And it was fine. It ended up working out totally fine. Yeah. But I realized that I could condense people, and that's just how I want to work. A lot of people are like, you know, your arm, you can't really work those long hours, but I've created a lifestyle where I do work out, where I do things to help my body so I'm not in pain.
Of course. What I love that you're saying here, and this is so valuable for anybody that is getting into the business, okay? A key that she is saying is like, in the beginning when you're building, you take whatever you can take. Everything. I mean, I can relate to this so much with young nails. In the beginning stages, it's like we took all customers in building the business. You know, we really, really did. There were a few that we had to get rid of a few customers in the beginning just because it was totally unreasonable. Like the relationship was so bad where they weren't even paying us, and that's a no, right? Like if you're not getting paid, it's like, okay, I need to bring in a customer that is going to pay their bills with us. But still, we went above and beyond and did whatever was necessary to make sure we're growing our clientele. We had one salon call in and they're ordering one protein bond. We were jumping and running and trying to get that customer, you know, and making sure we kept them. And we still today, if somebody orders one protein bond, it's still super important to us, you know. But I love that. It's like, you can't be confused about this. In the beginning stages, you got to hustle. And especially, like, I could visualize you take on a client, you go home, somebody calls like, hey, can you take me? You have to zip back to the salon. Yeah. A lot of this like back and forth, a lot of madness, crazy until 10 p.m. But there's no choice. Am I right?
No, there's no choice.
You have to do it.
Yeah, you said that earlier. There's no choice.
There's no option.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool thing is today is so different than like you can do like the platform of social media has changed the game.
Everything.
So I feel like it's easier for people to build now.
I would agree with you 110%. It is easier. Why? Because you can market now on your downtime, right? Where 13 years ago you had to hit the road. You had to go and that's something you probably should still do today. But the difference is now you can pop on Instagram, right? And this is something that we talk about in OWC of doing location marketing. And we have earlier episodes of the Biz Talk where I go over this and cover this. You can build a clientele now locally through Instagram.
Right. You don't even have to like pay for it.
It's all
there.
free.
But you just got to do it.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to put that time in. So I really love what Rhea is saying here. And I think it's super important if you're starting in the business that you have to take in what she's saying. Like in the beginning, it's hard. It's not for the faint of heart. You're going to be a business owner. And on top of that, she did whatever was necessary. She hustled to get every single client. And would you say 2 years total probably to build a full clientele?
Yeah.
So past that $350 a week, where you were like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
For that 2 years though, it was pretty nonstop grind.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And even on your days today though, like the days you do work, what's your schedule? So just really quick before we wrap this up, your schedule today, walk me through it. What does it look like exactly? On Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, what do your days look like?
I usually start at 8 or 9, depending upon my schedule, and then I usually end at 8 or 9.
Yep.
So I'm usually doing like 10, 11 clients a day.
That's so mostly fills.
Yeah, mostly.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're in the salon 8, 9. You're out of there by
8, 9.
8, 9.
Yeah.
So you're doing 11, 12-hour days. So you're still putting in 36 hours a week. You're just packing it into 3 days.
But I've been raising my prices consistently now
every
year. So the funny part is that as I've grown, like now I don't even have to I keep raising my price and my clients keep saying, okay. And it's like at one point I'm like, okay, I was trying to get rid of you.
Wait.
I'm like, dang. So I'm making way more now than I was. So I don't have to work that much either.
On that real quick, was it the first time you raised your prices? Was it a little scary? Was it
scary?
Yeah.
So scary.
And how did you go about it? Like,
so I put up a sign and I gave everybody 6 weeks. I think it was 6 weeks notice.
Plenty.
I like found some information. It was like you should give them more than enough like notice so that they can try to find somebody else. I did it on the holidays, so I knew that they couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing. I usually do it like October, November. So I'm like, you're trapped. Like you need my nails for the holidays.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I love that. And what was the response overall? Did you have anybody that just freaked out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had, my most recent was, because I charge now $70 for a fill, was I lost 4 clients.
Okay.
This time around.
So you went from what to what?
65. So I usually raise it like $5 a year.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you lost 4 clients, but you increased by the $5. Yeah. You're still making more money, and that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to. That's amazing. Do you hear that? $70 for a fill. She's in Arizona. I'm tired of hearing people say you're in LA. The market's different. No, she's in Arizona. She's charging these prices. She's built it up. She's been doing it for 13 years. In the beginning, it was $350 a week. She took every client she could. Today, she's raising prices consistently, and $70 fills is amazing.
Yeah.
I
feel good even if they don't tip me. Now people ask me about tips all the time. I'm like, I don't even care if I don't get tipped
because you're
charging what I feel like.
You're charging what you feel like. But you've built up to that. It's been a process to build up to that. Yeah. It's not like all of a sudden you went from, I want to do $35, I'm going to go to $70.
Well, and this is the thing, like I literally continue my education.
Yeah.
Like me teaching actually makes me continue my education. I'm watching videos. Like I used to take classes all the time. Like there was a consistent part of that. Like you have to have a reason too why you're raising your prices.
Of course.
You can't just read them.
And let's be honest, the videos you're watching are my videos.
Yours or Greg's?
Who's Greg? Who's Greg? Anybody? Greg? Anybody? Thank you. Tracy was like, big no. I really appreciate you taking the time.
It's been fun. Thank you.
And coming on here and sharing your experience and your knowledge. And I would love to hear, and I think Rhea would too, anybody else, your experience in this process. What advice do you have for people that are starting out? Please let us know in the comments below. And as always, any topics out there that you want to hear about, let us know in the comments below as well. With that, say thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next week on the Biz Talk.